Welcome, everybody, and a very warm welcome this time to our last webinar before our summer break. Today, before we head off into a bit of more sunny and relaxing weather, we're going to go into a very, very deep dive, looking into exploratory testing to test reports in a blink. I am very happy to have, again, two very, very great speakers with me tonight. We have Anja Fuchs with us. Anja is an experienced senior Atlassian consultant at Swarmit, our great partner. She has many years of experience working with Atlassian products. She has made a significant contribution to improving digital collaboration and knowledge management in various teams. And because a big part of that means test management, especially with Xray and process optimization, we're very happy to have her with us and tap into her big pool of knowledge today. Along her is Rina Nir, our CEO of Redbee. She helps medtech and pharma companies leverage the Atlassian tools to achieve regulatory compliance and operational efficiencies. She supported many regulated teams through their agile transformation and as they adopt DevOps practices. Having spoken a lot about us, and before we head into the meat of the topic, as I mentioned, we're also having a third partner on board. We're having Xray on board. And 2 weeks ago, we actually had the great pleasure to come together at Swarmit's Great Test Convention, as the name says, all around tests. And we all did get together, and Xray left us a little message, which I want to show you before we head into the topic of today.
We launched our partner program at 2029. 2018. And sorry. So we launched our partner program in 2019, and Swarmit was our first partner. Yay! So it's very good for us to see the growth of you guys and how we created the best initiatives together, all the things that we worked together, that we collaborated. So also, and the main point of it is that last year you won the Partner of the Year. And yeah, it's amazing to see that partners are involved with us and growing with us, and it's amazing. And Radby also. So, so Radby joined us in 2022. Yeah. It's more recent, but already doing a great job. That's why you won the Partner of the Year this year. Also, Swarmit won the Best Co-Marketing Initiative. So
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Specialist. Thank you for your support. You helped a lot with that.
And it's been amazing to work with you guys and to have this opportunity of us three also working together, Xray, Radby, Swarmit all together. Natasha has been the one really working in the Co-Marketing Initiative, right?
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, it's very important for us because it's really good to see that our partners also have the same quality-centric mindset, and this helps us to bring like a more relevant message to the testing community, helping them and helping companies to deliver better software together and faster. So it's really important for us to have you here and to see the synergy between our partners as well, because Redbee and Swarmit has also been doing like a great job together with a lot of webinars. We also have been presenting a lot of success cases to our audiences. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to see you two together, working together, always in collaboration. So this is also very important, and I'm very happy and proud to see this.
Yeah.
So it's a pleasure to be here, definitely.
Thank you.
We're also very happy to have Xray as our partner. It's always very great. Check out our last webinars where we've been collaborating with them a lot. So, and in the spirit of collaboration, before I finally hand it off to our two experts today, this is also some form of a collaborative webinar. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to ask us any questions in the chat that you have, any comments that you have in the chat, and we will pick them up at the end of the webinar and talk through them with Anja and Rina. Having said that, I will leave the stage to Anja, to Rina, to tell us everything they know about exploratory testing.
Thank you, Saskia. I'm really happy to be here today and talk about this very cool topic. So we start with actually the why. So why do we use these fancy tools like Xray? And so test coverage is, of course, something we want to achieve. We want to make sure that everything is tested. We want to know what not has been tested, and we also want probably let anyone else know what has been done. So really the demonstrating of the results, and yes, everyone knows some head of or C-level likes to have some fancy reports. That's also something that not only, of course, for C-level, but everyone loves the reports. And that is also something that we can achieve using the right tools for that. So what can we test actually, or what is how we can test, that's better. So we have different tool sets. So we are coming from Xray now, but Xray is based on Jira. It's all even Jira now. I think we should change the logo for the next slide. I haven't seen that before, Rina.
Yes, that's a good
The
point.
name
It's
change.
Jira, it's no longer Jira
Yeah,
software.
it's
Yes,
no
yes.
longer. But yeah, still, I mean,
Old
like,
habits die hard.
yeah, and I mean, it took years to get used that we are talking about Jira software. Now we have to get used to talk only about Jira. So
Sure.
yeah, so it's important to use more than only these two tools. We also have Confluence that is very well integrated, of course, with Jira. And then we are coming to the next point. What I really am very happy about to have it is Jira Snapshot or snapshot for Confluence then, just that we really have this full transparency of the tool sets, that we have this tool chain we talked about in Zurich, also with Rina. So that's what it makes it really easier to work, to test, and to ensure a good quality.
And
Now,
here in
Rina,
the
maybe
slide,
you can
we
add
have,
something. Yeah.
yes, I want to say that we have here also the new logo of the exploratory test from Xray, and that's actually the focus of today, but it's important to show how it's part of the tool chain in the sense that when you do exploratory tests with a Xray app, it integrates seamlessly into Xray, and any evidence or recording or findings that you have during exploratory testing can immediately be part of a formal test execution that is linked into the stories or the requirements and eventually be part of your coverage. So exploratory test is then leveraged not only for finding bugs, but also for your documentation purposes and demonstrating coverage, basically.
So let's deep dive to what kind of types we can use. So this here we already talk about Xray types of tests that we can create, that we can design within Xray. So the first is the manual tests. This is more or less a step-by-step testing approach where we can really do the functional testing, and it is very close to the requirements that we have specified before. So we can really guide the tester through all the steps that he or she has to make sure that they have been tested. We've also give the result that we expect and make sure that it's really as we want it to be. The automated tests, this is mainly run by some other software that we can integrate very easily. They're scripted. There are best for regression, for performance testing, from some load testing, and it makes it possible to test all these things that is manual, that has, yeah, it's very hard to do it manually, and it saves our much time if we can do it this way. And then we come to the exploratory tests that we can do. And here it's more or less about the tester. So we are really giving the opportunity to the tester that they can explore the software, for example, and have a look what be found. It's very creative and based on intuition more than on real steps as we have it into the manual tests. Of course, we can make or give some structure that the tester is not completely lost, but it's not as detailed as we have it into the manual test scripts. And it's more maybe also about to find things that nobody has thought before about.
Exactly. I totally see this point with exploratory test, and I think this is also one of the reasons that it has emerged recently as a very strong trend in testing. That's the fact that we need to test the unknown unknowns. So both manual test scripts and automatic tests, they are designed to cover ground that is familiar for us, scenarios and flows that we can imagine. While exploratory test asks the tester basically to discover other flows, and through his or her creativity to find bugs that no one thought about. And of course, as the software mature and we run an exploratory test, there could be a cycle where an exploratory test is then translated into an automatic test or a manual test script because we suddenly discovered a flow that is worth repeating in the future. So that's basically a way to mature the collection of tests that you have for a certain product.
Yes, and it's important that we have all the tests together. So then we ensure really the greatest quality.
Sure.
So how does it look like if we talk about issue types, as Jira is everything about issue types? We usually, if we just have Jira, we don't have Xray on it, we know that we can manage our requirements. We know that we have our bugs, defects, however you named it on your instance. So Xray brings all the way between the requirements and how we find the defect. It is a bit of a process behind that Xray gives us. So we have the test case design. We have also then a bit of the organization of the tests. Then we have the execution and planning that comes a bit together. And we have different Xray issue types that we can use. Therefore, we don't need to have all of them, but of course it helps a lot. For example, we can create tests that can be reused, that we can execute later on in different cycles. But for example, something that is rarely used, unfortunately, I think, are the preconditions. I see it so often that the clients are just forgetting about them. My favorite example is like internet connection. Just make sure that there is internet connection and or that the system is up and running. So you don't place that one as a test step in every test, but still you have to make sure of some kinds of processes before. So the preconditions are great, therefore. We can organize our tests in test sets, but we also can, and those are also Jira issue types, working same way as we are used to. But what Xray is also offering, and this is something for all the folder structure lovers, those are the repositories in Xray. This is like an entity just coming from Xray has not much to do with the Jira functionality, but we can structure our test cases really into folders as we would like to. It also it's still possible to use both, so we can organize them into test sets, like several tests together in one test set, but we can also do the repository for some other use cases. And then it's the graphic is a bit wrong from this perspective. So usually we first plan and then we execute. And this is the hard piece, I think, where what Xray brings us. So we can really execute as much as we need. And as the result, we have the test runs that brings us the results from every execution based on every test. And these results we are having into these test runs gives us the test coverage that we are actually looking for or doing all this for.
All this effort,
Yes.
all the sweat.
Yeah. And yeah, those are then linked to the defects if we find some. And so we really see that very transparent where and who detected the defect, where from which step does it come from which automation does it come from. So we really can follow up on that.
Should I move forward?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So if we are talking about exploratory testing, there are three main types we are talking about. And so we are starting with the freestyle exploratory testing, and the name is already, I think, clear enough. So we don't have many or much requirements or rules or specifications of how the tester should go on. So the tester just tests as he or she thinks is good, or try things out that make sense for the tester. So we really can, we don't guide too much. Then we also have the scenario-based exploratory testing, where we predefine some real user scenarios that the tester has to follow, but we don't do it in a way how we format the manual testing with the test steps. We don't define everything with parameters, for example, like login as user AB, put in the age between like 30 and 40, whatever. So it's completely free. But of course, we say like, okay, it's about how to book a flight, for example, on the website, and then just like book the flight. However you will make it, just do it and
Yes.
find out what doesn't work. So, and the strategy based, and I really had a look on that one, because that's something I never did actually, or never had a chance to do, is this strategy based exploratory testing, where it's more about the testing technique that you follow than the use case. So you say the how, but not the what regarding the testing. Maybe Rina, you have to add something in your experience to those three. What do you like most, or where you feel comfortable
So
if you have
I
to
think
test?
I think the scenario based, or I don't know if it can be considered as strategy based, but when we release a new version of Jira Snapshots, for example, I do myself engage in an exploratory test, and I do that based on the changes that occurred in this version. So my strategy is basically, from the changes that are going to go out, I try to understand together with developers what are the things that could break. And these are the things that I spend more time on in the fashion of exploratory test. And I think this probably can fall under strategy-based testing.
Cool. So, yeah, how do we start? What is important if we do exploratory testing? It's really about teamwork, actually. I will take the lowest point. I will not say that fun is the most important thing. It's good to have it, but it's a teamwork. So usually you are not alone. You don't have one tester. So it's important that the team has a clear purpose. So we should still, even if we do freestyle testing, we should define a scenario. Otherwise, the tester would probably get lost, and it's not probably the same efficiency that we expected from usually a short time frame where we just need some results. And here we come to the time box. So of course it has to be planned. So exploratory testing doesn't mean that we don't plan it. It's just we don't probably define exactly what the steps are to do, but we need to frame it. And the tools. It's of course it's helpful if the user get a good tool chain where they can use the right instruments to follow the guidance probably that has been defined before. And yeah, so it's important that it supports them and do not abuse them actually during their testing.
So, Anja, I want to actually emphasize the fun. It's the last point, and it seems to be funny to have in when you discuss about a test exercise. But I find that if you invoke this idea of gamification around testing, you invoke the creativity. And because exploratory test calls for clear creativity, this idea of approaching it a little bit like a game, let's try to break the system, or let's find if this works or that works. So this type of attitude will help find the edge cases.
Definitely. Yeah, you're completely right. I think it's just probably this is the point where you really have to make sure that you have the right testers on your side. I
Yes,
mean, if you talk about like the manual testing, that's easy, let's say,
yes,
more or
absolutely.
less. Just
Yes,
follow the
yes,
rules. And I
yes,
think it's important to, um, if you have an exploratory tester, don't take them once, like take them for all the testing you have, so they get more experienced, and
sure.
that brings the right result at the end.
Yes, yes,
So when we again talk or still talk about the how, it's also even for the freestyle test, I think it's important to have some clear definitions that make again the purpose of the test for the tester more clear. And this is an example we also had in our workshop before the greatest quality convention, where Pascal Stiefel showed this charter. I'm not even sure if this is like a standard, but I like the way it's defined here. So we really should give the tester the idea on what to explore, what needs to be considered, what maybe still tools or information should be used, and what's the goal behind it. So what do we want to discover? And of course, it can be that the tester will discover completely something different, and this is also the point, but we need to stream it a bit so they don't get lost already from the first minute of testing.
yes.
So to not make it too theoretically, I will show you some demo we have prepared it's into the Redby sandbox, and I will show you actually that what you have seen before with the Xray entities, how Xray is structured, and of course how we can use exploratory testing directly from Jira, from Xray, without any steps in between. Of course, we need to install the Xray exploratory testing before. The app is free. So if you even if you don't have the Xray license, if you don't use it, you still could create some exploratory testing reports just by using the app. It's possible also to use it if in a team, but then it's like a cloud license where you pay a certain amount per user, but you can collaborate on the results again on a cloud platform that is has been made directly by Xray, so you don't have Jira in between. So what I prepared here is just a very simple epic and website refresh, and I have some stories below. And if we, let me turn it on. I didn't turn it on. If we have a look, oh, sorry, I have it in German. I haven't realized that. Probably I should change that before we go on. I'm so sorry. I still think that my invitation probably went to a lot of German-speaking people, but
Not
to make
everybody
it,
speaks, yes.
yeah, but all the Jira users are like, oh, it's different. so so let's see. So if we go into the epic, below we have the test coverage. So it shows the overall coverage of this whole epic. This is based on the tests that I have linked to my stories here. And also, for example, we have, this was also a discussion before, so what are we doing with freestyle user experience tests, for example? This is also a way to how we can do it. We can just link it directly to the epic. If we don't have a real specification, we don't have a story for this case, but we want to make sure that if someone will do a freestyle test, that it's still linked to our epic and will be shown in our test coverage status here. So at the moment we have the not run status, what leads us to the point that some tests that we have linked to the epics or to the stories has not been run yet. Even if some of them are already passed, the overall status is not run. If we go deeper, for example, into the training story, we also have here the test coverage, but only for the stories and not for the whole epic. And we see that there is one test linked to this specific story. And if we open the test, we see that it's linked to our to our story, and we see here the steps. So here in this example, I also have created an exploratory test, but it's a structured one. So we don't say really like, we don't have any data, we don't have an expected result. We have the test type manual, but we want to guide through what should be done within this exploratory testing session. So this is one way of how we can build that up. And if we go back to our story, I don't have now a plan or whatever, so we will do like a and oh, it didn't change that's fun. Usually Xray has never been real good translated, and now it's the one it's the part of Jira that is still in German. Why ever, it's probably the cache. But so believe me that we see here it's oh, how you say that if I don't read it in English, I forget how it's in English. So execute, it's execute. Now I know that. So I can say, for example, now I want to do a direct execution based on the test coverage that I have here. So I have one test only, so it will just do the execution for this test. So here we see again, it's English. So I see it's directly assigned to me and I can go to the test execution. So it creates everything based just on the story where I have started. So you see it's the test execution for and then the key of the story that I have started from. And I see now that I have one test within this execution, and I see that the status is still of to do, so the test hasn't been started yet. From here, I can press this play button and start the testing. So as a tester, I would do that. So I have my testing screen. My internet is not the fastest today. So what I see here is, for example, I have directly my test details. So I see the objective that I have. I see this steps, these actions that I have to follow. And if that would be just a normal manual test, I would probably just make some print screens and change the status, whatever. But as we're doing exploratory testing and the app is well integrated, I can start with the exploratory testing directly from here. I can execute this with the app, and takes a short moment till the app has loaded. So come on. Oh, that's not nice. You're trying to launch from different Jira. This is unexpected. I didn't think about that point. So just let me shortly make sure that we have it. So now you see how easy it is to set up the connection. Very sorry for this interruption. So hopefully now it should work. Okay, so now it works. I'm very sorry. So what I have here is I can name the session. We will just go for like webinar. And you see it's here in the connection to the Redbeer sandbox. You can forget about save file in because this is because I have this premium test of exploratory testing app. But you see here the project that we are using here in Jira, and you see which session I'm or which test I have inside my execution. So I can create a new session. And I get all the information directly from this test. So all the steps, all the summary, description, everything is inside here. I see the steps with all the data, and I actually see the timeline. So I haven't started yet. So, oh, that was lost. I can start my session. And I would just shortly go to the Swarmit website to have it. So what I can do now is I started the session and I can have a look on the steps. What do I need to do? So for example, navigate to the section of the website that lists available training sessions or courses. So I don't have a link or whatever. I need to figure out where the training sections are. If I select here the step, all the screenshots I will do, or all the videos or the notes, will be based on this step. So I can really follow up then later on that. So I can, for example, have a look. So will I find something? Let's see, let's explore. I have the Xray. Are there any training sections? No, they're not, for example, and I would expect them to be here. So I can just create from here a screenshot. I can also click on here. And the screen that I have pre-selected before, or no, so now, whatever. So today is not so funny. So now, screenshot. Sorry, something. I think that it's a problem of my setup today. Actually, after creating a screenshot, it should appear. That's always the same. So you can test something as much as you want, but it just doesn't work properly. Maybe it has to do something with the stream, because I also have already the stream on this on the screen. I will just try to. Okay, something went completely wrong. That's not so fun. So let's try again. So usually it has the selection of the screen already, as I have pre-selected it, and it just creates the screenshot. I think I will need to end the session and restart it again. I'm very sorry of this technical issue. Let's try it again. Or I can resume it from here and try it again. Probably that's gonna work. We'll just try the other screen. Oh gosh, so that's seriously a pity. I can't go on. I think I will have to end the session. Something is just, I never tested it with StreamYard, so probably it just has a problem with the stream that we are having. I'm not sure how we should go on, Rina, just because
Yes.
it's
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna work, or it seems that it's not working at all.
Saskia. Hello. No, Anja, that was actually great. Expected, not expected, but these things happen. I
Yeah,
will
this is
actually share.
exploratory.
Yes, I will share actually because I have an example of a result of an exploratory
Yes,
test that a
probably.
session that I recorded yesterday. So in this session that I have done yesterday, I um, ran for a few minutes, started from yesterday, and I added two screenshots and a comment while using the exploratory test app. So that's actually um, uh, was working fine, and I'm sure it was a good meaning. Anya, we did see the launching of the exploratory test. We saw the interfaces, and when you capture a screen, it's very easy, and then you can add the comment, and it all eventually closes back into Xray, and it finds itself here in Jira. So I'm here in a test run in Jira. This test run is a result of an exploratory test, and now we are moving to the next stage of, okay, we have done all these exploratory tests. How can we bind it into the big picture of the project? So going back to our tool set or the tool chain that we mentioned before, um, we have seen Xray in Jira with exploratory test app. That's where the testers are carrying out the test and recording all their information. But then we need to have all the reporting, and the reporting in the setup that we are proposing happens in Confluence, and that's the next piece of the demo. Um, and I'm navigating now into Confluence. In Confluence, we are having status reports of the project. A few notes on why we chose to have our status reports in Jira. One of them is not in Jira, in Confluence. One of them is that a lot of our staff are in Confluence and are not so keen to go into Jira. There are people, C levels, VPs, program managers, that Jira is not their native place. They don't want to go into the weeds of the stories and the test cases. They just want to see the status of the whole project. Um, and Jira Snapshots is a good way to show this to them without having them even have a license in Jira. So this view that we now see in Confluence is a view that can be viewed by anybody who has access to this page, no matter what their Jira access level is. And this specific report was built with three hierarchies in mind. It shows the project all the way from the stories that needed to be implemented for our website refresh operation to the tests that cover them and to the status of the test runs. And this report was taken a while ago, just before we actually had this meeting. Let me just quickly take a new snapshot based on the same configuration. So what happens now when I press the Take New Snapshot? There is a process that goes into Jira, fetches the new data, brings it to Confluence, and will now show the up-to-date information um, to everybody that is in Confluence. And because this is a static report, we can use it very easily to also report. So if you wanted to create release documentation, you could use that because this will not change even if data in Jira changes. And here we actually do see that there is a new test execution that was created from our previous report that we took. And we can, even if we wanted to be more precise and really know what changed from the previous status report that we took, we have the compare button that shows us the difference between the previous static report that we took from Jira and the new one. And I can see here that actually we had 2 test executions that were carried on, or actually still in process of being carried on by Anja, and this is what has changed since basically an hour ago. To show you a little bit behind the scene of Jira Snapshots and how we can build this test coverage or this status report. On the page itself, so I'm now moving in Confluence into an edit mode. And we open the configuration of Jira Snapshot. We see that this particular snapshot is defined via 3 levels. We have one level, which is our stories, and we took basically all the stories of that particular epic, because this is how this project is defined, all the stories under this epic. And we have selected ourselves which fields we want to show in the report. We can select basically any of the custom fields that are available in Jira. Then the second level is the one that shows the tests, and we see all the tests that are linked to the stories that we have. And again, we have full control of which fields from the test are included in the report. And the last level is test runs. And the layout of the report, in the sense that which scope is included in which level, how many levels we have, and what fields, is totally configurable. And the nice thing is that we configure it once, and so we have configured at the beginning of the project what we want to see in our status report. And me, as the project manager or the test manager who want to share the information with the C-level of executives, anytime that I want to update the report, I will go on and take a new snapshot. I have full control over how fresh the data that exists in Confluence is. And of course, I can also automate it. So if I wanted to refresh this data each time that an issue in Jira is updated, I could do that as well. The second report that is pretty important for our test reporting is the detailed test report. And that's actually a very new macro that we have in Jira Snapshot, recently released. And that's just a detailed test report based on a certain criteria of which test you want to include in it. And it basically includes all the information that you want to have on a report in the situation that you need to produce those detailed test reports. So it has the complete information about the test runs, all the documentation, including the test evidence. So here in this particular case, we have one screenshot and several other files, but in a typical test reports, you will have hundreds sometimes of screenshots, and they will all be part of this test report that is again configured once. And once it's configured on this page, we can update it each time that we need to create an up-to-date test report. So this one is basically a different snapshot. It's called Jira Snapshots Test Report Macro, and it allows us to configure the set of tests that are included in this report and which test executions we actually want to include based on their version and the test environment. So really allowing us to focus the scope of the test report. So yes, basically, if we go back to where we were in the beginning, we showed the whole cycle from planning the test, executing the test in Xray or in the Exploratory Test app, and then reporting back into Jira Snapshots. And yes, I think we are, Saskia, you can now
I'm just
bring us
gonna,
back into this
yeah, I'm
mode.
just gonna put your screen back on for a second,
Okay.
because we have two questions that I would pick up that are related to snapshots before I bring Anja also back up. Two quick questions, if you could maybe go through them. One question that we have is if we can see the history of a page where the snapshot is included for each time we take a snapshot.
Yes. So if you, 1 minute, I'll close that. Each time that we take a snapshot, there is a new entry that is created in the page history. So this latest entry is the one that I just created now. And if we go back to the history, we will see the correct version of snapshot that was applicable for that version. So if I will now show version 14 of the page, the snapshot we'll see here is the one that still does not include the two latest executions that we have seen in the new one. So I hope this this answers the question.
The second question then is obviously also a very interesting one. How much do we have to pay for it? The integration with Confluence and Jira, is that only with the Premium Plus app, or are there other levels to that as well?
Okay. So here we have a quick pointer. If you go to the Atlassian Marketplace and search for Jira Snapshots, you will see here two apps. One of them is the Jira Snapshots that does not include the integration with Xray. If you are interested to see all the levels as I have seen now, as I have shown now with a deep integration to Xray, you will need both of them. That is, of course, if you are in cloud, because on data center, we have Jira Snapshots for data center, and that includes also the integration with Xray. So in short, based on assuming you are on cloud, you need to go here and just check the pricing here. It's based on your user tier. If you are 10 users or less, it's free. But above that, it really depends on the tier. And you need to check the two pricing: snapshot traceability extension and the Jira Snapshots together.
Perfect. Thank you very much for clearing that up. And now it's time for all of us to do a little recap of what we've just seen. Anja, you already posted on LinkedIn in the comments that screenshots are not working while sharing the screen. This is a little nudge towards Xray so we can make the presentation even better for the products, because, well, I think it became clear that we really like working with the Xray tools, and that they are a, well, essential part of how we set up our testing. And so, yes, wink, wink.
No, Exploratory Test app is really a good tool to have, and it's very empowering. It allows you to run through your tests much quicker, especially when you need to capture all these evidence, etc. It really is a time saver.
Yeah, it's really the simplicity behind it. And what I also couldn't show, but install it and try it out, is also the other way around. So if you are in the situation that you just found something and you want to capture it, you can just also do ad hoc testing, what creates a test execution into Xray without like doing all the steps and create issues first. I mean, we all know create issue is important, but it's easier if you do it per one click directly from the exploratory testing app.
Yes, that's actually how I use it. I create the test execution after.
Okay, so that just leaves me with wrapping it up. Thank you very much for being here, for watching it. Thank you very much to Anja for sticking through with it and presenting what we could present of the awesomeness, as I just said, what Xray products are. But also thank you, Rina, for presenting the awesomeness of Snapshot in combination with Xray. So all of that, a great presentation, I think, great learning experience, what we can do with all the tools that are out there, and at the same time also picking up what we heard in the welcome message from Xray, from Natasha, from Anna, saying like, this couldn't work just one of us. This really needs to have all of us included and working together and trying things, how we can integrate that together. And so, yeah, it was really great having you both here, having you both show again what is possible with Jira and what we can do with Jira and Confluence. If you now watching this want to reach out to Rina or Anja, you see her contact details on the screen right now. Please feel free to reach out to them.
Or on
Otherwise,
LinkedIn.
or on
We live on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Sure, yeah.
I see that Rosalind says that we have one more question in the comments. Is there something
We have
that
one
we
more
can do?
question. Let me check.
Because we
Yes,
still have
actually,
a
we
few
do.
minutes.
We do. We have the question if the screenshots can be exported to other applications.
Do you mean other test applications? I'm assuming. So the Xray exploratory test captures the screens in the app, in the exploratory test app, not in Xray. And what I find is that they can export everything as a PDF.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
just,
very
yeah,
useful.
not even that. Yeah, not even on PDF. It really creates like a folder on your drive, wherever you want it to have, and it creates subfolders. We love folders for videos and also for pictures, and also creates a PDF that is really the timeline of all the steps and all the notes. But you have every screenshot and everything what you create as a file also saved on your drive wherever you want it to be.
And not only that, it can capture videos. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I really like is to capture a video. And once I have that, I share it with my team on Slack. Sometimes that's the quickest way to the developers.
Yeah, and it uploaded, of course, if you connected it to Xray, to Jira, it uploads everything also there. But you can have it like both. You can make sure that you have it on your drive or on Xray Cloud, and also in your Jira instance.
Excellent. We're going to pick them up as soon as they come in. So now I don't see any other questions other than thank you for the session. Thank you for the webinar. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Rina and Anja, again for showing up and sharing all your knowledge with us again. I've mentioned it at the beginning. This is the last webinar from Redby until probably September. We're going to head into a summer break. If you're getting bored because you're not getting any new content from us, please feel free to check out our other webinars in the meantime. They're available on LinkedIn in our feed. They're available on YouTube. And we're cooking a bit behind the scenes to come back in September with new webinars, cool topics, cool speakers, and we're looking forward to that. In that sense, thank you. Have a great rest of your day and see you in September. Bye.